Most of the things we pursue people for counseling, what we need is not counseling. Even when you are delivered from the influence of a demon, the demon returns. The only thing that keeps a man perpetually delivered is when he stays filled with God. Jesus said, if an evil spirit is cast out of a man, Matthew 12:43-44, the spirit goes about in dry places, looking for place of dwelling, finding none, it returns back. The spirit will find you. If the place is empty, kept and garnished, why is it kept? Why is it garnished? Because the power of God has destroyed the works of the devil. But if the person is not filled with God, he said the spirit will not just enter, he will return with 7 more wicked demons. That's why if you detach from the presence of God, you will discover something. The things that God delivered you from, you suddenly discover you start feeling like doing them again. Because what keeps you afloat in the spirit is your ability to stay in the presence. There are lots of people who were drunkards. God delivered them, the taste for drunkenness died, and then they became committed to God. After a while, it became difficult, and then they begin to wonder, the taste for drunkenness begins to return. Some were immoral people. God worked so much on their soul that they don't even notice what you are wearing. But all of a sudden, they come to the fellowship and they notice every beautiful lady that walks in. Suddenly they check, they see where the slit of the skirt is torn. Corruption is beginning to enter. If you are wise, run back to the presence. That's where the cure is. You have to stay there until you stay afloat. The reason most of us are struggling with secret things is because we are not practitioners of the presence. Sometimes you think, okay, when you can trust somebody, then you can open up to the person. The best thing the person can give you is to go practice the presence. Benny Hinn said there was a time when he began to struggle, and then he became afraid. Brother, he became afraid because he saw that everybody that hit that height of power, somehow something fights them and they fall. So what is this? So he became afraid because he was going so high with God. At first he thought prayer was the cure, but the point came when even prayer was no longer sufficing. See, there are some people that are anointed to pull men down. The anointing of Delilah. Delilah is a baba. There are some people, some ladies are anointed. If you like have 10 million approach them, they will not accept. But if the man is anointed, that's the one they are interested in. They don't just know why they are attracted to the men. Benny Hinn. You know, when you travel around, you will see people. The problem is that sometimes you are locked down in your locality. So you think you are a beautiful lady. You are forming in your environment, forming in that small campus where you are living. You have not traveled. When you see an Arabian lady, 7 feet tall, the skin is like leather. If you touch, if they sweat, the thing will drain, and the sweat will not melt on their, it will drain until it comes down, because their skin is like a snake. Santana leather. And then to make things worse, they have perfumes. Those perfumes they use is like they made the enchantment on those perfumes. When they pass, we must turn. You know, Apostle, my father, the Lord Apostle Orokpo told us a story. He's the man that God has worked on. If Apostle comes near you, you begin to feel the love of God. I'm not exaggerating. We've been with him for long, but every time he wants to come around him, you just hunger for God begins to grow in you. When you come around the man, sometimes as his work, everybody wants to walk like Apostle. If you are not careful, you clone yourself. For me, I stopped listening to him for close to 2 years. I deleted it. I said, what is happening here? The love is contagious. You just want to be around the man, as if you want to touch him. And he is not a man that packages. He's just free. Hey, how far? If you say, where does I say, bro? And then he shakes you. So if you are not, you will just love the man. God had walked himself into him so much. This is a man that you can't even, what do you mean? Where does he have the time for? And then all of a sudden, while walking in Lagos in Apapa, some of these Arabian ladies that sell perfumes. When the lady came and he beheld the lady, something was distorted in his soul. Hey! If you hear him tell this story, you will laugh. And he had to take a fast for 9 months. See, if you don't want to die, you will make the presence your habitat. Something where he was living in Lagos, if you other side, maybe it's a club, stand on the street, he didn't notice they were there. It can't affect him. But he saw a strange absence. That the skin looked like what? Santana leather. And something was altered in his soul. To survive and to stay afloat with God, he had to fast for 9 months. And when that thing was broken, that was when Remnant Lagos began. So the devil saw that he was about to start something in Lagos that will change the territory. And 9 months before that time, he shot an arrow. The cure is the presence. When you travel, you will know these things. Benny Hinn, the man of the spirit. When this fear began to grow in his heart, he said he had to run to Jimmy Swagger. He ran to somebody that had fallen, who has the experience. And Jimmy Swagger told him the cure is not prayer. The cure is the presence. Stay with God until God is walked into you. That's what will destroy the tendencies of the flesh. A lot of people struggle so much. Discipline is very important, remember. But anything that is orchestrated from the realm of the spirit will disarm you in a second. That's why you also need a spiritual resource. Tackle things that come from the spirit. It's a system of the presence. Spiritual habitats have the capacity to transform you either for good or for evil. The children of Israel, the Bible spoke about their tents. He said, how beautiful is thy tent, O Israel. Why is the tent beautiful? They were arrayed around the ark of the covenant. So God is perpetually in their midst. But when they could not be destroyed, Balaam told Balak, he said, you can't fight these people because the voice of the king is in their midst. The only thing you can do is to break their habitat. If you break their habitat, they become vulnerable. And they sent naked virgins. The path where they were following, they flooded the river. And when the sons of Israel saw it, they broke their ranks and distorted their habitat. What was their security? And they went after the women. In no time, the Bible said in Numbers 25, from verse 7, he said they invited them to worship their gods. And these people, that the service of God was their lifestyle, because they broke from their habitat. Suddenly, they went to bow to strange gods. They were not compelled to worship those gods. They were lured because the habitat had changed. In that day only, 24,000 people died. One even had the guts to carry one of the naked virgins into his own dwelling place in the courts of God. The power of spirit habitat. You make the presence of God your dwelling place, and you will constantly enjoy transformation. Constantly. The reason we are changed is not because we are reading the Bible. The reason we are changed is not because we are praying. The reason we are changed is because we can behold His face. That's why the first priority of prayer and the study of the Word is to come to the Lord and see Him as He is. Because if you see Him as He is, then you are changed into His likeness. Power of spiritual habitats.